Create a big vision, like stretch yourself,
it's going to really get you excited.
Take whatever you think you want and double it, 10x it. Get big, get wild and crazy, because the bigger the vision, right, the more the flame gets lit, and then you wake up with a deep hunger every morning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've got probably two of the guys in San Diego that wake up the earliest.
Probably.
I got the morning here in the house. Jarvis, what's up, brother? How are you?
What's up, man? Long time no see. I was just telling somebody the story just today. How me and you all got together. You were there at the birth of the morning hero.
That's right.
You're the only person crazy enough to meet me at 5 in the morning to go run the convention center stairs. And gosh, we did that for a while, for a long time. Pitch black outside, and we're just grinding, hustling, getting after it at 5 in the morning. And then that was, maybe 5 to 7 years ago. That was before I got married. So I've been married.
Pre-marriage, pre-kids?
Yeah, so that was over 7 years ago when we first started doing that. And that was how kind of that morning hero even began, right? That was kind of the birth of it. So you were right there at the infancy.
It's awesome. We were just talking before, obviously catching up and talking a lot about like what's going on in life, our kids, family, wives, marriage, the routine. And today I wanted to have you on because this is actually, I'm going to launch this the Thursday right before Christmas, because a lot of people I know, I'm like, always wait till after, but I'm like, no. A lot of people write their goals.
Totally.
And you know where we're going here. They write their goals. They're getting ready for 2024.
Yep.
And they want to make changes.
Yep.
And the problem is I don't need to tell you, but I go to the gym at 5 o'clock. I'll see a new person come in. They're there for a couple weeks, and then they're gone.
And then you never see them again.
Yeah. And so can you just, like, for people that never heard you, let people know kind of who is the morning hero, like what exactly you do and how you've been able to like help. And we're going to dive into more, I want to get stories. And now it's been a long time, and I know you help people that we both know, but like, how are you helping people? But like, kind of like give us like what's going on in, the morning heroes world.
Who is the morning hero? So that's a very deep question, but I'll tell you, so like kind of where the genesis of the morning hero came from. And it was, I spent, so I'm originally a computer engineer, and I started off as a computer engineer, and then I went into sales. I quickly found out that I was better at business than actually staring at a computer screen for 12 hours a day. And so I went into sales, and I kind of, I did 15 years as President Club sales rep. And then I started getting to this point in life where I started to burn out. It was the grind. It was, coming home drained and exhausted every day. And then I started to develop a lot of like these self-sabotaging habits. And so I'd come home and I pour myself a drink. I kind of sit in front of Netflix. Scarf down some cheeseburgers and some Doritos. And then I started kind of getting in this rhythm of life where it's just every day was the same, just kind of stuck in this loop, this mundane loop of just mediocrity. I wasn't happy. I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't excited. I was just like every day, just get up, fight the day, go to work, grind all day long, just grit my teeth through it, come home, and finally it was time for me to just reward myself, right? Like, I survived the day. Let me just overindulge. Let me overindulge in alcohol and food and mindless TV and vices just to numb myself from the day. And what happened was that created this vicious cycle of self-sabotage where it got to the point where I was drinking every single night. Then I'm going out to the bars, staying out all night. And then ultimately I hit a rock bottom where I got fired from my job.
Wow.
I went from President's Club to, within 1 year, I was the very last place performer on the sales team.
Wow.
And ended up getting fired from my job. I was living with a girlfriend at the time. We ended up breaking up. And within 1 week, got fired. We broke up. I found myself out on the street. And I was bouncing around from friends to friend house, sleeping on their floors for about 3 months.
Wow.
Trying to figure out what I was going to do in my life. And ultimately, landed up, I had to move back to Chicago. So I'm, at 35 years old, I had to move back in with my mom. Right? And it's like the ultimate defeat, right? You get out, you're independent, you're self-sufficient. Then all of a sudden you have to move back in with mom. Right. So talk about like a blow to your ego as a man. Here it was, I couldn't even take care of myself. Like, that was my lowest moment of, trying to feeling like a failure.
Wow.
And so I'm sleeping on my mom's couch, and I had to figure out, okay, what is the next phase of my life? Like, what's going on, Jarvis? Like, you're better than this, right? And I was watching a video, just randomly on YouTube, Jim Rohn. Mm-hmm. And if familiar with Jim Rohn, he's like the godfather of personal development, right? He was Tony Robbins' mentor.
He has some of my favorite quotes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and so Jim Rohn, I'm watching this video, and gosh, he was just talking straight to me. He says, "Everything in your life is your fault.
Yep,
everything. It's your fault."
Doesn't that suck?
Man, it sucked, right?
It's the worst. So you can't say no to it.
Because it's easy to blame people for everything, right? Yeah. It was like, oh, I got fired because my sales were down, but it was the economy. The market was bad. Oh, I had a bad territory. My boss gave the good territory to them. I got the bad territory. I got the bad client. Like, I could easily blame everything on everyone else. Like, my relationship failed because, she just didn't understand me. Like, she doesn't get me. Like, she's being selfish. And it was easy for me to always make excuses and blame other people. But watching that video was the first time I had to take ownership. It's like, everything in your life, every result you're getting, everything that you're unhappy with, it's you. It's your fault. And if you want something different, you have to do something different. Mm-hmm. And that was the defining moment where I finally took ownership. It was like, all right, if I want a different outcome, what am I willing to do differently? And so I started reading books, trying to figure out what the formula was. Like, what are the successful people doing? And let me just rip off and duplicate what successful people are doing. What is their formula for success? And it's no secret that successful people all wake up really early in the morning. So I read a book called The Miracle Morning, which talked about waking up early with a morning routine. And that day, I made a decision sitting on my mom's couch. Was like, okay, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. And at this point, I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything to wake up for. So I'm getting up at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, no real intention to my day. But that day I said, I'm waking up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to, try this morning routine thing.
Do something.
I'm going to do something. I'm going to try to meditate.
Change it up. Yep.
Grab a spiral notebook and start and try to journal and try to come up with a plan for my life and come up with some goals. And I'm going to sit here and kind of brainstorm what I'm going to do and for the day and how I'm going to be productive. And I was just going to try this thing. And so my plan was to get up at 5 a.m. That morning, I woke up at 4:57 a.m. before the alarm clock ever went off.
Wow.
And I jumped out of bed and I ran to my journal and I started writing and I started blueprinting goals and I started, coming up with this big vision for my life. And I just had such this energy. And I've never used an alarm clock since then. That was over 7 years ago. And so what I found was every morning I would get up and I felt like a hero. Every morning I would wake up in the morning and I would do this process and I would get all energized and I would set my intention for my goals and I would go off and I would accomplish it. Every morning I would turn into a hero. And that's where the morning hero was born. And so since then, now
a lot of stuff's happened.
That's where I do. My grand message to the world is that everyone, there's true power in the mornings. And if you learn how to harness that power, you will unlock the superhero that's inside of you. And that's where I try to inspire people to do, is to unlock their superhero. And more than likely, it's waiting for them first thing in the morning.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is since I've been really fortunate, just lucky, I feel like I've been able to be around so many successful people just in the last 4 years, And I think there's this illusion, there's this thing where it's like somebody's got all this money or success and they're just like, they don't read the books, they don't need a guru, they don't need a coach, they don't need this. And then you start getting close to these people, you realize you're like, no, they're just like us. They go, I wake up every day, I go, I got to see a quote. I need to get my file. What, you? I need to read that book. So what I realize is it doesn't matter who we are. Mm-hmm. We all need some help, right? And totally. So when you talk to people you're taking on or you're helping, they're not deadbeats sleeping on the mom's couch. They could be. Right. There could be successful people that you and I know that are just like, hey, I'm just trying to go to the next level.
And that's what most people, and I think everyone knows that there's a next level. Yeah. Like everyone has something that they're aspiring for, a better reality. They want more of something. They want more success. They want more health. They want more free time. They want more love in their relationships. They want more contribution and impact and the ability to serve and at a higher level. Like everyone has something more, a next thing. And a lot of times you kind of just get stuck into this complacency of where you are. And then sometimes you need some guide, or you need something to kick you over the hump to get to that next level of that's waiting for you.
So you've been doing this a while now, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I know we've had, I think this is the third podcast. And so you have a lot of intel. You have a lot of data now. You've helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
What is it for people? Like, what have you kind of discovered? Maybe I know in yourself, but also in other people that you help. Like, what is it when you've seen somebody finally just get it in? Or is it when they wake up, it's having intention? Is it waking up and saying, I need to get organized? Or is it waking up and saying, like, I need to just have a plan to attack the day? Like, what do you think that's really moved the needle for all these people you've helped?
Yeah, it goes back at a higher level than that. It comes the very first thing, the first transition. And like, so if I were to document where the different like light bulb moments, the very, very, very first light bulb moment is clarity of purpose. And that comes at a vision. I mean, at a basic
Maybe the
level.
why.
The why.
Why the hell are you waking up at 3?
Why? Because I could tell you all day long the tactics. I can tell you all day long, look, here it is. Get up at 4 in the morning, because then you're going to have more time. You're going to do this. You're going to create your action plan. You're going to sit like I can tell you all the tactics. But if you don't know, first question is, why the hell am I doing that to begin with? Like, what am I getting up for? What's getting me up, right? Why am I meditating? Why am I going to the gym? Like, what am I doing all this for, right? Someone has to have that internal flame lit at the basic level. And so the very, very first step is really kind of stepping back and saying, okay, what's the vision you have? Like, what's the grander thing? Like, where do you see yourself? What's this 2.0 version of yourself? What is it? What are they doing? How are they serving? Like, what do you want to be? What is your full potential? Like, and when someone gets clarity on that, like, I know my full potential is this. I'm here, but I know I should be here. Once they get clarity first on what that looks like, now they have a reason why. Now the tactics and stuff make sense.
So that's the first homework. I need to know why.
The very, very first thing is, what's the why, right? And so it's you got
to go find it.
You got to go find it. And sometimes some people it's easier. Like, they already know. Some people they don't know, and like that's a discovery process. That's an evolution. But that's the first step, is to have that clarity of purpose and knowing a good vision of what your full potential looks like. And so I like to do like an exercise. I call this visioneering process. I call it you could either do a year in review or a 5-year in review, but it's a process where you think, forward, you project forward in time and look, you are 1 year out or 5 years out or 10 years out, and you're out and you're surrounded by everybody you love, and you just ordered the most expensive bottle of champagne on the menu, and everyone's cheering for you. Everyone's toasting. Everyone's so proud of you. They're excited for you. They respect you. And like, there's just this love and energy. And it's because you've done it. You've hit every milestone you've accomplished and achieved. And everyone they're just amazed at how much you've been able to achieve and accomplish and do. And then I have people reflect. Now you're about to give your toast, and you're about to give everybody the rundown of everything you did, like why you're there, what led to you being there. What do you tell them? Like, dream up. So like they're thinking, like, they're visioning that they're ahead of time, and they're reflecting back on the last 5 years of their life and what made it the best 5 years of their life. All right. And I try to get people into that state because the hard part is, when you're in the present moment, it's hard for you to think big, because all you see is your surrounding circumstance. And so when all you see is this, like, then that kind of clouds your vision. So naturally, I can only think about these things. So you have to kind of get out of the present moment. So you kind of have to get into this state of thinking in the future and think of, what is that, your best self? What are they doing? What did they do to get there? And then when you can get into that mindset, you can start dreaming up of a big vision for your life, right? And the moment you have that clarity, like, what what's going to have me on the mountaintop? What's going to have me order the most expensive bottle of champagne? What can I say that I'll be most proud of in my life? When you can get into that mindset and then you're clear on that, now you come back to the present moment, you open your eyes and you're like, fuck, let me get after it. Tomorrow I'm getting up at 4 a.m. because I got to start realizing this vision. All right. So when you light someone's internal fire, you don't have to really hold their hand and drag them. No, they're firing. Like they're firing out.
So you're basically like pulling that out of them.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to guide people into that, right? Because like I said, like we are all stuck in the weeds. Everyone has the weeds. Like the day, I call it the whirlwind. Like every morning you wake up and your eyes open, you are in the whirlwind. You're a whirlwind. Like my whirlwind is heavy. I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and a business and a marriage and my family and, all the stuff. And then you got social media and you got breaking news. And then you got, the car's breaking down and the house needs to be fixed. And like every day you open your eyes, stuff is waiting for you, right? And you just people just get caught up in their whirlwind, right? And so it's hard to step out of the whirlwind long enough sometimes to keep your eye on what's the long-term vision, as opposed to most people just get up and they just start managing their whirlwind. And then year after year goes by and all they've done is spin in place. All they've done has been.
Yeah, because your mantra, your quote is win the morning, you win the day.
Yeah.
And so when you say win the morning, can you kind of elaborate what does that mean to somebody? Like, what does that mean?
It's essentially it's kind of defeating the whirlwind. So the whirlwind, the moment the whirlwind kicks in, the day is gone, right? And if you want to defeat the whirlwind, you got to get a head start. And so the win in the morning is, first of all, getting up ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so again, my whirlwind starts at 5:30. My kids wake up around 5:30, right?
That's cool. So when does to stop you? So it's figure out when your whirlwind starts.
Yeah.
And then how much time
I say you need at least an hour to 2 hours, preferably 2 hours.
2 hours, I feel like, gosh.
Before
if you're a coffee drinker, probably 2, because you got to get it going. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 hours before your whirlwind. So my kids wake up at 5:30. Okay. If I wake up with my kids wake up, my day is, I am off all day.
You're not going to win the morning.
Well, no, you've lost. You've already lost because you're waking up right into chaos. And if you wake up into chaos, that's the energy you carry with you all day, right? And so a lot of people, they set their alarm to get up at the time their whirlwind starts. So they're waking up right into the chaos, right into work emails, right into their family, right into the dog needs to be walked. And now you got to answer this call from the boss. And now you got a client and they've never had time for themselves. They've never had time to set, what are my intentions? I wake up right into everyone else's intentions. I've never set, what the hell do I want to get accomplished today? What are my intentions for the day? So winning in the morning.
To me, that's like scary.
That is, that's a nightmare.
Yeah. Right? I mean, I know people that are like, Kenny, my kids come in and wake me up in the morning. I get up, that's how they wake up.
Oh, I would scratch my eyeballs out.
Yeah. so for you and I, guys, this is a nightmare. Like this is like the worst case scenario.
Worst case. And the days that happens, I'm off. Like I'm snapping at people. I'm quick tempered. Like I'm moody. I'm irritable. And
you didn't get your you time.
I didn't get my me time.
Yeah.
And so it's like, they say fill your cup first. When you're on an airplane.
Yeah.
Strap on your oxygen before you. The morning is the metaphor for that. It's the equivalent of you strapping on your oxygen tank first before you serve everyone else. You fill your own cup. Because then once your cup is filled, now you can pour more deeply, more powerfully, more abundant into everyone else. But if you are running around with an empty cup, you're not pouring into everyone else. You're actually draining. You're draining from them, right? So you can't be the best you or who you need to be in your business or in your life if you aren't starting with yourself first every morning. And so that's what win the morning is. Get up first of all, get up 2 hours before your whirlwind.
I agree.
and then the way you use that time is I like to sit in front of a journal and start and kind of set my intentions.
So let's go through your day. So you wake up at 3:30.
Yep.
I think you said we were just talking, so I know this is the beginning. You have your coffee.
Yeah, I have an espresso.
And so is there a time you allow yourself to like, because even me, sometimes I'll get up and I'll be like, okay, like I kind of want to enjoy it for a minute. And people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, I do jump in some days, but some days I just want to kind of enjoy the moment for a minute, right? Because it's quiet, it's peaceful. I want to sit back and just like, I just want to think for a minute.
Yeah.
Like what am I going to go do right now? Or what do I want to like think about the day, right? So
yeah, that's exactly.
Are you kind of enjoying the coffee and the like?
Oh yeah.
I don't drink coffee, but I know people like enjoy that coffee and ease into.
Well, it's for me. It's like that's like my meditation time. So, like the first 20 minutes is just quiet. Well, not necessarily quiet. I have my headphones in and I'm playing like soft ambient music. So nothing with words, nothing that I can sing.
So you're not in silence, your music's going.
Oh yeah. I have to put something in to silence the outside world, and it helps me go internal. So I'm sitting that time with my eyes closed. And so it's like a meditation, but it's a little different from meditation, where meditation, you actively try to stop your thoughts. I don't try to stop my thoughts. I actively let my mind wander. So I actively try to get into a daydream state, because I think that's where the universe speaks to you. I at least personally, I start seeing visions, especially if I have a sip of my espresso and my brain is firing, and I close my eyes and I just have this little, I think it's called binaural beats, the type of music. It's like spa music. It's just
okay. I know you.
Theta waves,
and you're just letting the universe take over.
And I'm actively. It's almost like you're getting high. I'm seeing colors. I'm seeing visions. I'm actively letting the universe guide my mind wherever it wants to guide. And then oftentimes it will start guiding me down paths where I start getting big ideas, aha moments, answers to questions, problems being solved. Like I say the universe kind of speak to me. You know, I'm here as a vessel, however you see fit, would guide me into what you want me to focus on today. And so I'll spend about 10 to 20 minutes just doing that. I sip my coffee and I'm just sitting with my eyes closed. And I've got my journal next to me because I like to capture any ideas that come up. I'm writing them down.
Smart.
So that's kind of how I start my morning every day, is just in that peace, quiet. It's like, I call it my sanctuary.
Okay.
It truly is a sanctuary. I'm not trying.
What room are you in your house?
So I actually go into the office.
Okay,
so I have an office. So I
like to be specific about this because I have a room. It's like, okay.
So I have a dedicated place where that's where I go, and that's where I do my jam. And then after that, then I'll go into reconnecting with my goals. So I write my goals every single day. All the goals I'm working on, I write them every single day. I have a journal. Matter of fact, I have my own morning hero.
It's amazing for people. Like it literally can just map you out for sure.
Yeah, and so it started off as me just using a blank spiral notebook, and every day I would kind of guide myself through this process where I'd reflect on the previous day, you know, I'd journal a little bit about, you know, what I could be doing better. Then I would write my goals. Then I would schedule and plan my day, and eventually I just turned that into a guided journal. So now I have my own morning hero planner that people can even buy on Amazon. And so that's essentially what I do. I'll kind of write my goals, then kind of brainstorm my action plan for the day, and then go to my calendar and schedule out everything that I'm going to get done for the day. And so the whole process takes about 30 minutes that I'm sitting in front of my journal. That includes my time with my eyes closed, kind of just letting the universe talk to me, and then going through like the goal setting part. That whole process is about 30 minutes.
So between the coffee and meditating and then letting the universe talk to you and that, you're probably about 4:30 this is when you're coming out of that kind of stage.
Yeah. And so then I will lately, sometimes I kind of go back and forth on when I do my exercise. When I first started doing this practice, I would go right into doing my exercise. And so that's where, you know, that whole 2-hour time block, you know, I say the first hour was just really just kind of time in front of my journal, planning my day, maybe doing a couple little tasks, and then I would go right into exercise. Now, what I've kind of restructured my day now. I move my exercise to later in the day to kind of break up big chunks. So I do it around mid-afternoon.
Okay.
Now I use that remaining time in the morning time block to work on my visionary goal.
Okay.
So I go right into working on my vision. And so the first part, imagine the first 30 minutes is planning, right? Then after that, I go right into going. So oftentimes I'll get a good idea in my meditation, and then I go right into working on it. And so right now my visionary project is my book.
Yep.
And so I go right into writing my book because my brain is firing on all cylinders. Like that morning time slot, my brain is at its absolute peak. And I used to leverage that to go exercise. Now I know I need to leverage that brain power for cerebral tasks, like visionary type tasks, things that I wouldn't normally get to later in the day. Like once the whirlwind starts, there's no way in hell I'm getting back to writing a book.
It's hard.
Like my brain space, I'm just not going to be in that brain space. Even if I have the time to do it, I won't have the brain power to do it.
And did you hear how Alex Hormozi wrote his book?
No, I didn't.
So the last one I haven't read this last one. There's $100 million off from this $100 million lead or something.
Yeah.
He basically, I think he woke up and he gets from 6 to 12. He did nothing but write his book.
Every day. Huh?
Yep. And so he got into the whirlwind at 12, which he's going to call it, which he didn't call it, but I like this whirlwind. Like I like that because that's really helping because it is a whirlwind, right?
Yeah.
Or our reality or whatever you call it. So he did that and that's what he did. So he was like, I just blocked it off. I don't care nothing. He just took that and just because that's where he realized that's the best time for me. It's probably when he was like most active.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's cool.
So that's the thing that I know. And I got this from the author of The Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod. So Hal was on my podcast and I asked him like, Hal, you've got a lot going on. Like how in the hell do you find time to, because his book series, The Miracle Morning, is probably it's a franchise now. It's probably like 30 different versions of it. And so I'm like, how do you do all these things? And you have a family and he's a cancer survivor. So he had, sickness to deal with. He puts out all his content and he's running, The Miracle Morning is a bit, there's probably millions of people in the community. And I'm like, how do you still have time for it all? He's like, well, I get up, I do my morning practice. And then first thing I do is I work on my visionary project. He said, no matter what's going on, I always have a visionary project. The visionary project is what's the next thing. He's like, most times people, you never will find time to work on the next thing because it's not the now thing. Like it doesn't provide you any income right now. There's no priority to it. And so it often gets pushed off because the now thing always takes priority.
Sure.
He's like, so for me, I have to have time. I use that morning time first thing in the morning to work on the next thing before I start working on what technically is the day job. So like whatever your normal thing is, consider that the day job. He's like, I have to work on the vision before I work on my day job. And so I took that to heart. I'm like, okay, my next thing, my vision project, what is it? I have a whole laundry list of them. The book is the first one. And so now I get up and I start working on my vision, my book. Then I flip into Morning Hero and working on my coaching programs and working with clients. And like, technically that's the day job. The vision comes before the day job.
Smart. And it's like it said, even Alex Hormozi did that. I think all these guys realize like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do this. I'll do it at night. At night, you're brain dead. I mean, at night I can't even.
Exactly.
You asked me what 2 + 2 is. I'm like, I'll probably give you 5.
Right.
Especially when you get up early. Okay.
Yeah.
We've been working on this for the past few months.
We always want to bring as much value as we possibly can. And our partner, Prime Corporate Services, is all about bringing you a service you can't get anywhere else at a price you can't get anywhere else. Whether you're new to owning a business or owning a property, or you're an experienced property owner or investor, Prime Corporate Services is not only going to help you, but they're going to make the process so much easier. So if you book a call, the first thing they're going to do for you is help you understand what your business structure should look like, your corporate structure, tax planning, estate planning, all of that. Maybe you're saying, I'm brand new to starting a business and all this sounds foreign and complicated. Remember, this company helps new people just getting started every day. They're going to help you form the entity that's best for you and walk you through the process. Before I found this company, we paid thousands of dollars to other attorneys, CPAs, and consultants to try to understand exactly how we need to be structured to be as protected as possible. We've also gone the other route and used online platforms to form entities which unnecessarily put us at risk. You guys, you don't have to do that with this company. They'll do all of these things for you at a reasonable price, so you never have to think about saving money at the expense of exposing yourself to liability. We've searched high and low, and you will not find this much value anywhere else. All you have to do is schedule a free call today. Just go to primecorporateservices.info/GITCG. Once again, that's primecorporateservices.info/GITCG. We'll also leave the info for you in the show notes.
Can you, without naming names, but can you kind of just give us maybe a success story of somebody, that came to you that where just kind of like came in, figured out the why, kind of about his path and like how it's really changed their life,
Oh yeah. I mean,
I know you have a bunch, but just
I get text messages probably every day, and we have an online community, the Morning Hero community, and so people go in there and they post all the time, and so almost every day someone's posting a testimonial or a win. We call it Share Your Wins, and someone in there posted last year. They posted that when they first got introduced to me and the Morning Hero, they came to one of my events. And they saw, and that was the first time they heard of me, and the first time they heard of my message of win your morning. Essentially, my big message is win your morning, right? And I encourage people that if you feel stuck, more than likely it's because you are stuck in your whirlwind. The best way to defeat your whirlwind is you have to win the morning, right? And so she went off and she felt inspired. And she ended up joining one of my coaching programs where we kind of walked her through the whole process of winning your morning, and we have kind of like a community and accountability built into that. And so she, that year, so she's a real estate agent, and she said that year she doubled her income. She went from 60 grand to 120 grand. And she said it's really just because that extra time in the morning really gave her the more time that she needed to attack her business. So she was able to be,
shocker, right?
Yeah. Right. So that's the biggest benefit for her was more time meant more business.
Yeah.
So she grew her real estate practice from 60 grand to she made 120 grand. That next year, she said, and this was this was the year that she was posting, that next year she said she just made $500,000. And here's the kicker though. She said she did it in 10 months and she took 2 months of the year off. And this woman was, she had came here from Ecuador. And I wasn't familiar with this at the time, but I'm sorry, not Ecuador, Venezuela. And I wasn't familiar with this at the time, but Venezuela is right now under war. The government is like attacking their people. It's under siege. It's a war-torn country.
Inflation's like insane, right? It's like it's crazy, yeah.
And so she, every year, like she came here from Venezuela, but she goes back every year. She's trying to get her family, and so now when she goes back, it's like humanitarian aid mission. Like she's taking water, she's like setting up camps, she's like trying to get her people out. And so now she's actually saving her people in Venezuela. And so she takes 2 months out of the year to go back to her country to save her people. So not only did she make 500 grand, but she was able to take 2 months of the year off and take that money to go save her country. Like, that's powerful. Like, who would have thought something as simple as winning your morning now turned into literally a superhero where she is saving lives? And the way she can do that is because now she has the financial freedom, but more importantly, she has the time freedom to take 2 months of the year off to be able to go back and be in.
Just like getting up, setting your day up, setting your intention, writing down your goals, look at your goals. Do your thing.
Yeah, because there's this ripple effect. When you win the morning, you've written your goals. So the whole Morning Hero process that I share with you, the biggest part is setting your attention. And what it really is, you go through a process of writing your goals, visualizing them, and then coming up with your critical actions of for each goal, and then planning it out on your calendar. That's the Morning Hero process. By the time you finish doing that, you're hyper focused. You're dialed in with your time. You know exactly what you need to do. You know exactly when you're going to do it. And it makes you, it's how you hack time. Now, instead of working all day long, spinning in circles, you've got a clear game plan of how to attack the day. And so she said, when she does that, every day she's dialed in. She doesn't procrastinate. She doesn't waste time. Her time, like the way she manages her time, the focus, she's like her productivity, 10X's, all because she wins the morning. She's so much more productive all day long. And so that's where she's like, her business is booming. Now her family is booming because she's able to, have an impact on her family. She's, exercising every day. So her health is on order. Like everything falls in line, all from this simple thing. You won the morning. Now every area of your life you're winning.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you feel like for people to get up, and I want to get into like some goal setting and stuff for 2024 people can do, because obviously you do that you're like master at it because you've done it every day. That's why I say if you're doing something every day, you're like, you've got it down. I always think, I'm like, okay, because people think obviously first it's crazy how early we probably get up, right? And I just go, obviously to me, I go, it's crazy that I wouldn't get up this early now. Yeah. And they go, look at me. I said, I'm just trying to tell you, like, it's a beyond an addiction, you know? Yeah. But I always wonder, I'm like, people fall off. Like so many people try to do it, they fall off. And you've coached a lot of people, and I'm sure some people have fallen off. They haven't showed up for their meeting. They're just tired of this. What do you think the person that has not had the success, not just financially, just gone through and just said, my whole thing was, I just want to win the morning. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'm just trying to win the morning to win my day, whatever that looks like, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm just a mom. Maybe I'm just this or that. The people that had the success, that win the morning, they get up, they have an intention and do it, and the people that just can't seem to get it together, where do you see, is there a clear definition of why, or is it they're killing themselves at night? Like, have you noticed a pattern of like,
like where do people fall off?
Yeah, because that's what I always think about, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of it is the, first of all, it's this internal, how bright the internal flame is lit, like your motivation.
Back to that, yeah.
And it goes back to having a very clear, big vision.
So you might be like, you're not clear enough. You're clearly
or
not.
Or your vision's not big enough.
Yeah.
Right? If your vision is, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom, right? And I just want to go to the spa all day. That's not a big enough vision to drive you to wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, right? And so the vision drives everything. And so oftentimes you have to be stretched to have a bigger vision. Now, once you have a bigger vision that challenges you, and then you're really clear on that, now all the other pieces, your behaviors start to align to get the vision you want. And so the vision, it all starts with vision. Motivation comes from you having a clear picture of a brighter future for yourself. If you don't have a brighter future lined up, or a clear picture, or something big that you're desiring, why the hell would you do all this stuff? Why would you go all day and be productive? What's the point of being productive? Like, you just want to go to the spa. Like, you don't have, it's not the driving you. You got to have a driving force. Okay. And so that's
what you see.
Yeah.
The people that have it, that drive, you're like, it's just clear.
I was working with the guy, and he was pretty successful already. You know, he was in the mortgage industry. Okay. And he was like, I'm making decent money. My family's good. We got a house. My kids are fed. Everything is good. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the thing? What's the thing you yearn for? What's the next level for you? And he's like, I'm really good where I'm at. Okay. Why the hell do you want? Like, you got to have something more. And if you don't,
you're not going to, why do you have 3? Yeah.
If you're complacent, and so like, there are people that they have reached a point and they are fine, that's great. Then you don't need to do anything different. If you don't want anything different, then you don't have to do anything different.
It's going to be a struggle for you to get up and have that fire in your belly or whatever.
I mean, you're complacent. Now, I don't think me and you are cut from that cloth.
Yeah.
I don't think we will ever get to a point where we can be complacent.
Probably not.
There will always be the next thing. There will always be something, like, even if you get to a level of income, like then it turns into contribution. Yeah. Now, how can I contribute at a higher level? How can I start a nonprofit? How many people can I feed?
I want to write a book or something just because I want to, right? Whatever. Exactly. Yeah.
There will always be something bigger, the next thing, the next level of impact that we would want to have, right? For some people, they don't have that drive.
Yeah.
And for those people, they don't need to do what we do.
Yeah.
they are.
So that's really the thing is, and I always say that it is not for everybody.
It's not. I mean, there has to be a driving force. And so for, we kind of trying to understand what's the driving force for you. Mm-hmm. And I have had people where there is no driving force. And it's like, all right, you're okay where you are. You don't need to just keep doing what you do then. Like, if it's working for you, then it's working, right? But for a lot of us, like go-getters, there's always something more left undone that we're yearning for. And like I said, it doesn't have to be money. Like, we're yearning for more.
You might just I want to get up and I want to get into shape.
Yeah. Or what I'm learning now is more people I work with, they're yearning for more of their time back. Instead of financial freedom, they're at a place where they're looking for time freedom. All right.
And you're just like, man, I just want to get some alone time. I
want to get some alone time. Or in the case of like the woman I was speaking of earlier from Venezuela, she wants 2 months of vacation every year. So she grinds. Her grind is out. This year, her goal is 3 months of vacation. She wants to go spend 3 months in Venezuela, helping set up camps over there, bringing water down there, saving her people. Her grind now is she gets up early and grind every because she knows that she's got to make $500K in only 9 months, so she can take 3 months of vacation. Right. So now, like, time freedom is a driving force. Like, wherever you are in your life, there's always some sort of freedom that you're looking for, or some level of impact that you want to have. And so for those people, winning the morning is how you get it.
Yeah, that's great, man. There's been some really good nuggets, just before you get in the whirlwind. I love that. That's really huge. I think that is what we're because we know we're going to have it. It's there.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, we're done here. We're doing this podcast. Yeah. We walk out of this room. It's right back into reality.
I mean, as soon as I walk out of here, I'm going to go meet up with my wife. We're picking up our son and we got to go take him to get braces. He's got something with his legs. We got to go take him to get braces. I didn't have it on my calendar. I had other stuff like now. So I got 3 things booked at the same time. As soon as I do that, I got to race to it. Like, that's a whirlwind, right? Yeah. That's a whirlwind, right?
Yeah.
Every day is like that.
But you're in a good state where you're like, I can deal with it.
I can handle it. You know, my cup was filled this morning. I had a great, I did a visualization exercise this morning. And if anyone's I don't want to get all woo woo on you.
Yeah.
But visualizing is a really, really great way to keep that. Remember, I keep talking about lighting their internal flame. Every morning I close my eyes and I kind of visualize like the future me and me on stage speaking in front of millions of people, leading people to the best versions of themselves. And when I open my eyes, I'm fired up, right? Now I go into my day with that energy. I'm walking in with a high vibration everywhere I go. I got a gusto. I'm energized, and everyone else is feeding off of that energy that I have. Like, I filled my cup. Now I can handle anything the whirlwind has. We were in Chicago for Thanksgiving, and we had a crazy trip. First of all, it's cold as balls in Chicago.
Oh my gosh, that place is cold.
And by the way, I woke up every morning, still same time. I'm on vacation with my wife and kids, no work, no nothing. I'm still waking up at 4 in the morning. I go into the living room, I journal, I do my little meditation, I go out and I go for a run at 5 in the morning. It's freezing cold. So I still, like, the mantra for the morning hero is every damn day.
Yeah.
Like, this is
That's true. I remember that. Every damn day.
This is a lifestyle. And so
he's got shirts, guys, that say every damn day. Okay. Yeah. I know that.
So this is so we're in Chicago. We had a lot of issues with our rental car. So every single day we had something bad happen to the car.
Sheesh.
The car got towed twice. What? Like, Chicago is ruthless.
My God.
They have these signs hidden like behind stuff that say street sweeping, and like literally, like you park the car and you're like, okay, everything good? Okay, good. You go in the building, you come out, your car's gone. What? Like, it was ridiculous. So anyway, car got towed. And we're going to the place to go pick up the car, and we get in these elevators. So to get your car, you have to go down elevator because the car lot is
underground.
Is underground, okay. Right? So you got to go down. And so we're asking the guys like, hey, where's the car lot? Like, this doesn't look familiar. Like, oh yeah, let's get in. We're going there with you. We're gonna get in the elevator. We're going down. And so we get in the elevators, and so we're just sitting. It's that awkward silence.
Yeah.
We're in the elevator, and the guy says, you're awfully like happy to be for your car to have just been towed. Like, you don't seem like your car just got towed. And I'm like,
that's pretty cool. That's good, dude.
And it wasn't like I was doing it, but he could feel it. Like, I was smiling, I was engaging with. I wasn't like most people, right? Oh, this thing just happened to me. Man, like, the world is closing in on me. Life isn't fair. Oh, bad stuff always happens. Like, a lot of people have that attitude.
Yeah.
And
it's hard not to, yeah.
I'm going to get our car, who is just in Chicago is super expensive because you got to pay the tow company, and then you also got a ticket on your car. And then, like, there's all these fines that you got to pay. And so it's a bad situation. And he's like, you're in an awfully good mood for having your car just towed. And I'm like, life is good. This is a blip on the radar. And the reason though I was able to be that he saw that in me is because just that morning I filled my cup.
You're running and freezing your ass off. You're like, this is worse than that.
So that morning, let me tell you about my morning. I got up early. I meditated. I visualized my goals. I felt the energy of me writing a best-selling book. Then I went for a run on the lakefront. And on the lakefront, there's an area where there's rocks where you're overlooking the water, and in the background,
you're downtown, right?
Downtown. We're staying in downtown, okay. And in the background is the skyline, and the sun is rising, and the sun, the light from the sunrise is reflecting off all the downtown buildings. So every building downtown is reflecting this beautiful purple,
crisp, cold morning,
and fuchsia and orange and yellow, and you just see the gradient of the sunrise reflecting on all the glass buildings over the water. And I sit on these rocks and I just sit there and just marvel at life. That was my morning. Now I go and I get my car towed. Fuck it. That's not gonna rain on my parade.
Yeah.
We're gonna get this car back, and we're gonna go take the kids to the Children's Museum, and then we're gonna go get some deep dish pizza, and then we're gonna go hang out with family. Like, yeah, it's 2 hours out of my day that's uncomfortable, but boy, I'm feeling good, and we're gonna have a really good day. That's because my morning routine. I was able to raise my vibration to a level where nothing could get in my way of having a good day.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you woke up hungover, and you'd be like, this sucks. Yeah.
So I'm telling you, so that whole fill your cup, and then the whirlwind can't bring you down.
Yeah.
And that's the big.
No, I agree. It's kind of funny. I'm kind of veering off here for a minute because you just kind of got me on something, but I haven't admitted this much, but ever, but Crystal knows. So I live in the shore, so I'll walk down. And for some reason, it could be dark. I'm walking in the morning and I'll just start walking on the beach. I'll just turn my music off and I just start thinking about my life and how grateful, because, I'm like, look where I live and grateful. And I just start crying.
Really?
Yeah. I'll just start getting emotional walking on the beach. I know people walking by me probably, what's going on with this guy? But it's like joy.
Yeah.
And I told Crystal, I'm like, yeah, I just walk down the beach, walking, crying up. She goes, what? And I go, man, I feel great. So I say like, you laugh in a day, you cry in a day, you do, this. It's like, so I just do that sometimes. I just get emotional about just life and how lucky and the things. And I don't know what it is. It's in that morning state. It's like, it's that state you're in. That's a state.
Yeah.
So I think we all meditate, express ourselves, do all these things differently. But when I do that for a day, I'm like, man, my day is, I'm in a really good mood all day for sure. Just letting things go,
Totally.
So
yeah.
Like you said, when you saw that picture or something, it's like, it could be like, man, it's beautiful this. And you're just sitting there taking it all in. You're like, gosh, life is I'm
good.
alive. I'm here, So I feel you.
You got a lot to be grateful for. And that's like one of my mentors. He's uber wealthy. And when I ask him, like, what's been the keys to success? Like, how did you get there? And I'm expecting these grand strategies, like, all right, this is how you manage your money. This is what you invest in. This is how you close deals. Like, I'm expecting these very hard tactics. And he's like, man, every morning I just get into a very deep state of gratitude. And he says that, I find that the more thankful I am for the things I have, the more the universe blesses me with more. Right? And it's like, Jarvis, I can't tell you any other deep secret. It's like, stuff just happens to me. I get a phone call. There's a 6-figure deal on the other end of the line. He's like, I didn't do anything. It just showed up. It's like, all I can think of is like, I'm thankful and I give a lot. He's like, the more appreciative I am of what I have, and the more I give, the more I get it back tenfold. And he's like, that's how he built all his wealth. It's just from that. Just get into that state every morning. And so that's what I try to do.
That was all. That whole was awesome. I mean, I know we had a tangent. So let's jump into how we can help people for 2024, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard. I just have this thing with goals because, I remember it's like Tony Robbins says, I think by February or something, the end of February, 80% of people have already fallen off all their goals.
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
Yeah.
And I know people are hiring you and getting coached by you, whether they are staying with you or they go off on their own can hit goals and, win the morning and all that. And you're constantly writing your goals. You're like, I don't mean, you might be one of the person I know that writes their goals more than anybody. Like, just being honest, right? You're probably like, there's not many. So when I think about goals, I think about, okay, I think some people make these ridiculous goals, but I think it's okay. And then they never hit them. I think also when you're setting goals, I'm like, I think you should set a lot of goals you hit. Because, when we're human beings, when you hit something, you're like, it's like I won. So many celebrations to the big one, right? Yep. So somebody's going to listen to this. They're going to sit down. They're going to start writing their goals Christmas week. Usually I'll start doing it, towards Christmas. I start thinking about it, like that Christmas week. I don't know why, like it's quieter, state of mind, this, that. If they're going to do it, what's the best piece of advice for you, whether they're doing a small goal and a big goal, and then how can they, what is the best? I know, and I think it's, now you're saying is like that fire, right? It's like that's going to hold the goal. But what is the best piece of advice is they're writing the goal. And one of the things I do is I tell people, I write it on my notes and my phone. You can whip it up and just look at it.
Yeah. The thing you want to do, so coming up with a goal is one thing, but how do you make it be a part of you?
Okay.
How do you make it a part of your identity so you don't have to, it just is who you are. Like, you don't have to think about it, you don't have to try. And that comes from repetition, and you have to burn it into your subconscious. And so that's one reason why I write it every day, because it's just a constant reminder. Another thing is, another way you burn something in your subconscious is you had a visual component to it. And so when I first started doing this, I would go and find a picture that represented that goal. So when I had like
a vision board,
almost like a vision board, but I would have it on my phone. And so I actually have a folder. You know how you can group folders on your phone? I have a folder called Vision Board.
Cool.
And so
that's a good idea.
Every picture in that folder represents one of my goals. So one of my goals is I want to look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay.
Right? That's my health goal, right?
Yeah,
I want to be ripped and cut like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And so there's one thing I can just write it. It's even more powerful when I see a picture of him.
Yeah.
Right? And so I have a picture of Rock Johnson on my phone and my vision board. And then I would, flip through it. I see the picture. I close my eyes and I visualize, okay, I see myself cut. I see myself in the gym. I see myself doing the exercises. And so what that does is I'm programming my subconscious. And so now I just naturally do those behaviors. Like, I don't have to think about it, right? What you're doing is you're trying to reprogram your identity.
Gotcha.
And so I have this vision board. Every morning I would just flip through the pictures. It was a part of my morning routine. I would sit down, sip my coffee, pull up that vision board folder, and I would just thumb through the pictures. And every time I see the picture, it reignites that goal and it reprograms my subconscious. Fast forward, this year I was at a conference, and it was like there's a big room. There's hundreds of people in this room, and it had vendors there. And one of the guys, made custom suits. And so he sees how I'm dressed. I'm always rocking a blazer.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, you're pretty sharp. Let me make a custom suit for you. He's like, come on, let me take your measurements right now. And I'm like, really? Right here in the middle on this floor, like in front of everybody? He's like, yeah, let me just go ahead. Like, take your jacket off. And then let me just he had this measuring tape. Let me just take your measurements. And so I take my jacket off and I'm sitting there with my arms stretched out wide while he's measuring my wingspan. While I'm standing there, some random guy who I've never seen in my life comes up to me. He's like, man, you over here looking like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
I swear to God, this happened just happened to me about 3 months ago. And I got chills all over my body as I'm sitting there. I'm like, you goddamn right. I'm looking like that. You know why?
Yeah.
Because I visualize it every morning.
Yep.
Like, now it is who I am.
That's awesome.
Right? And so it's not enough just to have a goal. It is an every damn day thing. Revisit it every day. So I write my morning practice. I write my goal every day. And I don't do this part every day. I don't always pull my phone out and flip through the pictures. But when I first started getting into this practice, I did it that was every day. Not only would I write the goal, I'd flip through and I would visualize the goal. I'd have a visual representation. And what that does is that's programming your subconscious. You're just really programming who you are as a person, your being. You start thinking differently because now your subconscious at a subconscious level, which drives your behaviors, that's what you're trying to program. And so then once you do that, now I naturally go to the gym. I don't even think about it. I naturally wake up and go for a run. Like it's not even an option.
Yeah.
It's my personality now. It's who I am because I've programmed my subconscious. And that's how I do it. I write it and I visualize it. And so my advice for anyone, when you go through setting your goals for 2024, yeah, come up with your goals, define them. That's great, but it's not a one-time thing. It's an every damn day thing. If you are serious about it, you've got to become a different person. The person you are now is programmed to get everything you have now. The moment you want something more, you got to become a whole different person to get the thing you want, right? You have to reprogram yourself. And a lot of people don't reprogram themselves. They want something more, but they stay who they are and they continue to get what they've got. They don't realize to get the next thing, you've got to become a new person, a better version of you. And that's how you do it. Every morning, you have to go through a process of becoming a new person.
That's powerful right there. Yeah, because I think that's what it is somebody's going to write the goals, start 2024, and you always start strong. And I tell people, look, if you fall off, it's fine. Just jump right back on.
Yeah.
It's like you go on vacation, and let's say you're like, I'm going to take a week off and just not work out. I'm going to give my body. Like I did. We walked. We did 2 hikes and I walked, I think, twice. I was like, there's no gym. I was like, but I crushed it, the week before. And I'm like, I'll take a week. Oh, actually for a whole month, I'm like, I'll just take a week. It's fine.
Yeah.
And, but then as soon as I come back here, I'm like, it's Monday. I'm like, oh, I'm like people are like, oh, I'm ready for Monday. I'm like, I can't wait to get up and go to the gym.
Yeah.
And that just comes from almost getting addicted to your goals and getting the passion, the gut. But I agree.
Yeah.
But I always tell people you might fall off for human beings, but you got to get right back. Don't say the next day, just get up and rip the Band-Aid off and go.
Yeah. And this is where I'm saying the difference is when you've got to force it and try it, that's where the yo-yo effect, because you're consciously have to like, okay, I have to do this. The difference is how do you make that your autopilot? Like right now, you waking up at 3 a.m. is your autopilot. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to try. You don't have to set an alarm clock. It's who you are at your identity level.
It wasn't always like that. Yep.
Right? It wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
But the way you got there is through constant repetition.
We might have started at 5,
yeah,
then 4:30, then 4.
It was a constant work at it, right? And your goals are the same way. You don't just do it one time and then think it's going to stick. It's a constant work. You have to constantly remind yourself. You've got to constantly work. And then eventually you'll hit a point where, boom, it becomes your autopilot. Then it's like you're a robot. You just execute. Like you don't even think about it anymore. And that's you got to get to that point before that happens.
That's great. Kind of wrapping up. Where can people learn more about you?
Yeah.
What's going on for 2024? I know we talked a little about here. And then what do you like? What's going on? But what are you really excited for next year?
Yeah. So next year, the book.
Okay.
So the book, which I'm not sure what the title is going to be, Every Damn Day.
Oh, that could be good, dude.
Yeah. Or The Winning Formula. But essentially, it's the step-by-step playbook to visioneer your dream life, right? And like we talked about this whole vision thing, and I think it's a really like pivotal part of goals. People will just come up with random goals and random things they want, but they don't know why. They don't have it. And that's the starting point. Because once your internal flame is lit, you will naturally become the person you need to be to follow through on all your goals. And so I've kind of coined this term visioneering. And so I'm going to be spending a lot of time next year speaking and kind of introducing this concept of how to visioneer your life. And so that'd be kind of the premise of the book. And actually, we'll be doing programs. I actually walk people through a whole 8-step visioneering process.
Wow.
Which actually, this is perfect timing going into the year to visioneer your year. So people can find me at either on my website, which is themorninghero.com, or I do a lot on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is the.morninghero. But if you go to any of those places, you'll see me talking about how to visioneer your life. And then if you want me to actually kind of walk you through how to do that, there'll be a way for you to do that too.
So if somebody wants to, and you're taking on clients where they can, and how's that? You meet with them in the morning? How does that kind of work?
Yeah. So there's a couple things. either I have some clients I meet with one-on-one. I'm doing less one-on-ones now because I'm spending more of my time out speaking, doing speaking engagements, and that's kind of like, and creating content. Like I can spread my voice a lot further that way.
Yeah.
So I'm doing less one-on-ones, but we do have morning accountability calls. So people can jump on a morning accountability call. It'll either be hosted by one of our Morning Hero facilitators, and they get on the call and they do this visioneering every morning. And so these calls, it's great for like entrepreneurs, go-getters, people that need, they're trying to build in this new habit, and they're kind of finding it hard to stay consistent. It's helpful to have a call where there's other people on and you are all doing it together. And so we have these morning accountability calls. And on the call, it's just a space where you get guided through every day how to reconnect with your goals, and you visualize them, you kind of plan out your action plan. But the most important part is then you commit to everybody on the call what you're going to get done that day. That's alignment with that, right? So that's the next level of execution. When you commit to other people that you're going to do something.
Accountability.
Now you follow through. And so that's where people find tremendous results, because not only now do they get clear on their goals, now they get held accountable to doing the things that they said they needed to do that was going to move them closer to those goals. And they do that every day. Now that's how you talk about hacking time. You take something that would have taken you a year to do, and now you do it in 3 months. That's how the lady from Venezuela is able to make triple her yearly income in a fraction of the year, right? She tripled her income, and she did it in 10 months instead of 12 months. It's with this accountability process, because it keeps you consistent to your goals every day.
Yeah. And then you have if somebody's going to get a planner, your planner is amazing. I mean, if you really want to get organized, have your goals, and it's it's a place to write it every day, the whole thing. Like if you really are going to take this serious, and if you just did that planner every day, it would change your life.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, listen, I do it every single day. I don't miss a day. I carry it with me everywhere I go. And I have years of planners all like on my bookshelf. I can go back to any year and I can pull it out and see. But for the last 7 years, I haven't missed a day. I do it every single day. And
wow.
It's that important.
Wow.
It's a pivotal part of the process of getting focused every morning.
Wow. Any final words to leave us for 2024 here?
Yeah, create a big vision. Like stretch yourself. It's
going to really get you excited.
Yeah. And so I would say take whatever you think you want and double it. 10x it, right? Like get big, get wild and crazy, because the bigger the vision, right, the more the flame gets lit, and then you wake up with a deep hunger every morning. So I think it all comes back to vision. Create a big vision for your life that then motivates you to do all the things. It doesn't matter. You can have all the strategies and tactics you want. If you don't have the motivation to do it, you're not going to do it. You're not going to follow through with it. And so I think the follow through part comes at the base level of why are you doing it to begin with? So starting off with the vision. So I would say create a big vision for your year. What's the wildest and craziest thing you could dream that you'd be proud to accomplish this year? And then nail it down, and then every morning write it and work on it. Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you want to make a huge change, you guys, go follow Jarvis, go buy his planner.
Yeah.
Show him some love. But honestly, if this is your year 2024, that's why I have you on. I'm like, let's get serious. Let's go.
2024, I'm calling 2024 the year of more.
Ooh,
everyone has something more that they're destined for.
Yep.
You were designed to do something to serve a purpose and promise here on this earth, something more than what you're doing now, right? It's there, it's waiting for you. And so 2024 is the year of more income, more love, more family time, more fitness, more impact, more contribution. Like the world is waiting for you to live in your full potential and promise. Let's get you there. 2024 is that year.
I think that's it, guys. Jarvis, thanks for coming in, brother. It's been awesome.
Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, man.
If you're already a real estate investor, you know that aside from cash flow, you also get huge tax benefits by investing in real estate. But are you taking full advantage of all the potential tax benefits? We've been working with Tim Looney at CSSI for a few years now, and he's saved us and our clients hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in taxes doing cost segregation studies on their properties. Let me give you a few examples. We bought a property in 2019. If we had just used straight line depreciation, we would have saved about $18,750 in taxes. But because we did a cost seg, we saved $258,000. That's $239,350 more than standard straight line depreciation in the first year. The other great thing is, if you're classified as a real estate professional, you can apply this to other sources of income like W-2 or 1099 income, and you can also roll over any unused depreciation to future years. If you've owned your properties for a few years already, don't worry, you can still do a cost seg and save big on your taxes. This is not tax advice, so consult your CPA to see if you qualify to take advantage of these benefits. Call or text Tim at 318-469-9861 to get your complimentary property analysis. Once again, that's 318-469-9861. And I'll also include his information in the show notes. You guys don't want to miss out on these tax savings.